Hi there. This week we have Cabernet Franc Day, so to celebrate that I thought rather than actually trying a straight Cabernet Franc, it would be really nice to see the place where I think that Cabernet Franc really excels, and that's as a blending component, generally alongside Merlot and particularly in Saint-Emilion. So today we're trying Chateau La Serre, which is a Grand Cru Classé. It's 2016. And La Serre, evidently the name of the chateau means greenhouse, and it's an estate, a small estate, 7 hectares, right on the edge of the medieval town of Saint-Emilion itself, and on the special sort of limestone soils they have there, with a limestone with a little bit of clay over the top. And what happens is that under these circumstances, a small amount of Cabernet Franc working with the majority of Merlot in a wine tends to add freshness and elegance to a wine that otherwise might be alcoholic and too rich and very fat and overly opulent, perhaps, in some people's opinion. To look at the wine, first of all, the colour. It's got a lovely deep colour. I'm swirling it. I probably shouldn't be while I'm looking at the colour. It's a ruby red, almost opaque. I can just see the stem of the glass as I look down through it, but not particularly, and that redness stays right to the rim. It's got a lovely sort of youthful hue there. Smelling it, a very complex nose, almost sort of baking spices in there, overlaying a sort of a ripe red plumminess. There are hints of sort of really ripe sort of licoricey notes, maybe a touch of raisin, but also, and this is the Cabernet Franc, a hint of sort of leafy freshness and almost a tiny green touch in there that sort of stops it from being too much of a sort of a huge fruit cake of a wine. Tasting it. It's a mid-weight wine, still very young. I mean, 2016, not long released. Does have at least 10 years ahead of it. Nice vintage, nice fresh fruit. Rounded, ripe, but good firm tannins, gripping tannins, not too astringent, but certainly giving plenty of grainy grip. The fruit flavours, there's almost a chocolatiness in there overlaying the plum core of the wine. There's plenty of cedriness from the oak. This would have been aged for 18 months in an oak barrel, a little bit like this, a barrique. This is actually a Burgundy barrique, so it's 3 litres larger than a Bordeaux barrique would be, but this kind of size. So plenty of oak there, about half of that new, so giving those very clear cedary flavours. And yes, for a young wine, it shows from a nice ripe vintage, but it's got elegance and poise because of that Cabernet Franc element in the blend, and it's got opulence and richness because of the Merlot. And alcohol-wise, doesn't feel too hot. It says it says it's 14%. I would imagine it's probably about 13.9, 13.8 or so, thereabouts. But doesn't seem fat, hot, and rich. And that again will be the Cabernet Franc's influence, cutting it back a bit there. Probably about 20%, 15-20% of Cabernet Franc in the blend for this, so going really nicely. So whether you drink it as part of a blend or whether you're drinking a straight Cabernet Franc, I hope you enjoyed Cabernet Franc today. Goodbye.